What's going on, everyone? Gilman with Wellthy Stocks back with another Apple update video where we take a look at how Apple stock traded today, key support and resistance levels that we are looking at moving into the future, and based on that, what we think Apple stock could do. So real quick, if you enjoy videos like this, don't forget to hit that like button down below, subscribe to my channel if you are new, and comment down below what your thoughts on Apple are, and I'd love to chat with you guys down there. Let me hit record and we will get right into it. So a couple quick things that I wanted to cover before we get into the stock analysis here is that, so today was the first day that was green for the indexes in a little while. And part of the reason for that was, Fed, Powell came out and soothed inflation worries. A lot of people were worried that, hey, with all the money flowing into, the economy with, the amount of stimulus we were putting out, that could lead to a crazy inflation and that could lead to problems down the road. But with, Powell's kind of comments soothing that was definitely great to see. The other thing that I wanted to quickly cover is from the video yesterday, I talked about, Apple potentially increasing their dividends and their payout to Tim Cook, the CEO, if he met certain goals. I just wanted to quickly reiterate that, right? So that would be really exciting for those of us holding Apple shares. I shared that, their dividend has not really gone up over time, even though the stock more than doubled last year. Seeing that percentage go up would be great, especially since they've had record quarters. And then the other news that I want to cover real quick is, so Fisker, which is an electric car startup, and Foxconn, which is Apple's supplier partner based out of Taiwan, has partnered up to develop an EV. And although that that doesn't necessarily have Apple on it, right? Just something interesting to think about that. The partner that Apple works with a lot for, a lot of their products, right, especially iPhones, is also working on an electric car. Now, plot twist, maybe it's Apple behind the scenes doing some of this work, although I doubt it. I know Foxconn has been trying to get into the EV business for a while, so that's going to be really interesting to see how Apple Car and their partners' cars are going to collide. If Apple Car ever ends up happening. So really quickly wanted to cover those three pieces of news. I don't think that, any of them are very, very particularly, specific to Apple. That dividend news was yesterday's news. So now let's take a look at future levels of support and resistance, how we traded today, what I liked, what I didn't like about the stock. So yesterday, you guys remember we closed hitting up against this 126.65 level. We dropped a little into the close. And pre-market today actually looked pretty darn promising, right? We hit up against this level one time, came down, pushed up, broke through at 127.49. But since then, it was, the usual kind of sell-off to start the day. So we sold off in the pre-market, got to the mid-124s. And then we, in the open, I want to zoom in here because we'll see that, we bounced, came up, bounced, came up, bounced, came up, rejected by VWAP. And then we hung out around this level, and then we dropped all the way to the 122s again. And then we came right back up, broke through our level, bounced, hung out at our level, and then we were above VWAP. So we pushed up, came right back down, bounced off of VWAP, pushed up, bounced off VWAP again, and then we pushed up. I was hoping for a push back up towards this 126 level, this 126.65 level that we saw in the pre-market that we were hitting up against yesterday to close. Unfortunately, we did not get that, but what I still do like about today is this VWAP bounce that we got, meaning that, we were relatively strong on the compared to the average price for the day. However, we are still red on the day, about 51 cents, which is about 0.41%. We were up 20 cents after hours, which puts us at, not too negative on the day, which is great news. So compared to that, the NASDAQ was up almost 8%. The Dow Jones was up 414 points, right? Boeing had a really, really good day, as well as some other stocks in the Dow. And then the S&P 500 was up 1.1% as well. So compared to all of that, right, Apple still lags. But I do kind of like what I'm seeing here, with the way that it's moving. And similar to yesterday, I did take on another play, although today's play was not really as nice as yesterday's play because we didn't really move. And I took that play on right here at the break of this level and VWAP, took on some calls, rode them up. And, when it fell, break even, rode them up again. And I was up about I want to say a little over 20% at some point, but gave some of that back because there were shorter term calls. I ended up selling them around here. So even though the price point was the same, because the IVR, a little bit of IVR was sucked out, a little bit of time value was sucked out, made away with about 7 or 8% rather than the 20% I could have made. But hey, you never know when the top is going to be. So there's no accurate way for someone to say, hey, this is the right time to buy, this is the right time to sell. The reason I point that out is because, I want to point out that these levels that I point out on a daily basis are levels that I use to make daily trades. If you are not saying you should just go in and do day trades, right? It's not as easy as just, buying calls off the bounce and then selling them a little bit later, right? There's a lot more things you need to look at. I personally look at these levels. I look at the VWAP. I look at on TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim, you have what's called the TTM squeeze. So you could use that to get relative strength as well. And when a squeeze fires, you know what that means. So if you are interested in that, definitely would highly recommend paper trading for a little bit. Write down where you would buy, where you would sell, and then, do that for a week or two and see what your results would be. If your strategy works, go in with a little bit of money and then gradually, as you feel comfortable, increase that over time. But would not recommend just starting off by, putting half your portfolio into a call thinking it's going to go up, right? That's definitely risky. Now, you could make out with a lot of money, but you could also not have a trading account at the end of the day. So just want to point out the risks, and now let's take a look at where we are headed from here. So the past couple of days have been really, really interesting to see, because we are now below the 89 EMA, which, as you guys know, was the last level of support that we were kind of hoping that we would stop before. Now, there's a lot of price levels that we're still looking at, right? But I'm talking purely from, EMAs and kind of trends over time. Apple stock does not stay below the 89 EMA for too long. So let's see how the next couple of days go. Now, let's talk about future levels of support, future levels of resistance. I'll get rid of these drawings and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean with that EMA stuff. So first things first, if we start to push up, again, this 126.65 that we were hitting up against in the pre-market, that we were hitting up against yesterday, is the first level. Then we've got the 128.60s. Then we've got the really the 130 level, in the low 129s to look at. The high 129s to 130 level to look at. On the downside, we've got this 123.69 level. We've got today's low of 122.23, and then we've got the 121.48. What am I hoping for Apple in the next 2 days to end the week? Friday, we typically see a Friday fade. Maybe we don't this week, I don't know. But for tomorrow, I'm really looking for a push towards this 126 level, get above that level, which also puts us above the 89 EMA. And then we can establish that as a little bit of a support and push towards 128. This 128.80s or 128.60s level. And I want us to either hit that or break it. If we have enough momentum when we're hitting it, we break it. If not, we're at least hitting up against it, so that next week it kind of preps us up for 130. We are, again, moving up in the after hours, so that's good. Hopefully that continues into tomorrow. Futures are green and we can open up a little green. So again, hoping that tomorrow we can really break through this level, make it push towards 128. Depending on the momentum with which we can do that, will determine, whether we break through this and push towards 130 or if we get rejected at the 128. Now, what I wanted to show you guys is, let me hide all these drawings for just a second. And what am I talking about when I say, the 89 EMA is kind of the last level that we have been looking at, right? If we go all the way back to about a year ago, Apple, or even below that, right? Apple rarely goes down to this very bottom line, which is the 89 exponential moving average. We went down to the 55 back in July 2020. We went down to the 89 in September once. We went down in November once, and then we didn't quite make it back in late November, but we did kind of make our way towards it. Now, other thing I want to talk about is, in all these instances in the last year, we never closed below it. So you take a look at the candle, we were never below it as we are now. So what I'm hoping for, and kind of basing it on this, I don't personally think that, Apple stock would stay below this for too long. Again, I could be totally wrong here, but I do think that over the next couple of days, we can take over the 89 EMA, which is at 126.24 right now. I'm hoping for that to happen in the next 2 days, assuming the market still looks good. The market looked good today. The market looked absolutely trashed the past couple of days. So if the market looks good tomorrow, really hoping for us to close above this level, right? I mean, even back here, every time we've kind of bounced, it's been a couple candles 2 or 3 days max. Even let's go back to this 29. So COVID was like the one scenario that took a while, but that's okay. That was COVID, right? Everything was weird. We did close below it here. If you take a look, back in, August 2019. So closed below it, pushed above. The next day we did break above it. And then the next day we pushed above to the 55 EMA. Now going back to, our level here, sorry, I'm doing a lot of movements and zooming in and out, but I really want to point some things out, you guys. Closed below it, pushed above, couldn't quite make it. So maybe we see a making of it tomorrow. In the previous case, we pushed up to the 55 EMA, which in this case would be 129.95. Not complaining if we make it over there, but my main goal for this week is that 126.24 level. And then as I talked about earlier, right, with the drawings, let me bring them back for just a sec, right? Really get through this level, 126.24 is that 89 EMA, but really the level I want to get through 126.60s and then push towards the 128s. Heck, we hopefully maybe even see 129s, but I'm really looking to see how we are at the 126 level and then how we are at the 128 level before I say we are making it to 130. That'd be great, but I'm looking, step by step, right? Baby steps, especially for Apple. That's been kind of slacking in the month of February. So that's all I had for you guys today. Really excited to see the indexes green today. Hope you guys are all having an amazing trading week. Well, I'm not having an amazing trading week, but hopefully you guys are maybe green for the week after today, after some of the recovery for today. But finally, after 2 days of red, my account was green. So that was always, that's always fun to look at. So hopefully you guys are doing all right this week as well. Let me know down in the comment section how you guys are trading Apple, and I'd love to chat with you guys down there. Let's remember to be a bit better every single day, and until next time.